What's up, besties? It's your girl Morgan here, and you're listening to Your Internet Best Friend. Happy freaking 2024. Guys, I cannot believe it. If you're listening to this, it is the first day of a brand new freaking year. I'm so excited. So this podcast episode, I wanted to do a bit of both. So I'm going to give you, a brief little update. And then I wanted to look back on the last year because I love doing a little bit of mindfulness. And then I'm going to share my hopes and goals and dreams and my word of the next year. So quick little life update. It is January 1st, 2024. I'm going to have to do a whole another solo podcast episode on an actual life update because right now, if you've been following this podcast, you know Hot Aussie Ibiza Cruise Man is in town. So I want to give a full update on that. I have really high hopes. I'm obviously recording this episode before, so as of now, he comes in like a week. I'm very excited about it. We're going to Texas and then Nashville, and I get to spend New Year's with my friends, and I'm sure you can follow that whole entire journey through my social media because you know what I do? I post everything on my story, which is a pro and maybe kind of a con. So I'm really excited to give y'all an update on that. I'm about to go to Asheville. I'm doing a little staycation of sorts in the cabins. I am not a cabin girly. I don't know why I did not choose to go to like Miami or the city or New York. I said, you know what I should do when I have a man in town? Let's take him to the cabin in the woods in Asheville, North Carolina, which I've never been, but it seems lovely. I don't know how to make a fire, but we're going to wing it. We're going to wing it. And you know who also, now that I'm saying that out loud, probably doesn't know how to make a fire? A man from Australia. But that's okay. I'm sure it will be absolutely lovely. Before we dig into the rest of this podcast, I love a bit of mindfulness. You guys know that. Really and truly, one of my favorite things to do at the end of the year, the beginning of a new year, is to really look back and reflect on everything that happened, because if you can't reflect on life and learn from your mistakes or learn from your experiences, I mean, really, what are you doing? You're, in my opinion, kind of just, I don't want to say wasting life away, but you're kind of wasting life away. So I thought it would be fun to do what I learned in 2023, but an unhinged edition, because that is not my word of the year, but it is becoming a bit more frequent in my life. And if you follow my Instagram, I did a series of 7 things I learned in 2023 at the end of December. And that was all about mindfulness. And that was what I learned. And that was deep. And then I kind of was making notes before this podcast. And I was like, let's talk about like the random unhinged things that I learned in 2023. Because let me tell you, I made a list and there's a lot. So here we go. I learned never ever, and I repeat, never get your ears pierced in Ibiza. Because I'm still having some issues. We still think there's some kind of infection. In fact, I was flying home from London and I had a really bad headache and I was complaining to my mom on the plane. And she literally looked at me and she was like, no sympathy in this woman's eyes. She was like, it's probably an infection from those piercings you got in Ibiza. You probably have like meningitis. I'm like, Mom, shut up. Like, go away. No, it's not. You actually might have a point, but that is what I learned. It's never a good idea. Get a piercing in America. Make sure it's sterile. Make sure there's not some crazy deal like 3 piercings for 90 euros. Probably not safe. Number 2, if a man looks you in the eye and casually says, I cheated on my ex, maybe you should run away. I don't know. Just from my experience, maybe they're in therapy. That's awesome, but it's probably a red flag. So if that ever does happen, just run away. Save yourself the heartache. I don't care how drunk you are. I really, really don't. You do not need 25 tacos. Because let me tell you, I spent, after my sister's birthday, we were on Broadway, I spent not $100, but $150 at Velvet Taco on 25 tacos for myself. Let me tell you, I woke up the next morning, I had eaten 2 of them. I had left the 23 other tacos scattered around my apartment. They were cold. I couldn't eat them anymore. And yeah, I just wasted a ton of money. So I promise you, I don't care what your drunk self is telling you. Just order one thing. Just get a burger, get a slice of pizza. Do not order the whole entire menu. Next up we have, just read the reviews. Read the reviews on restaurants. Read the reviews online if you're buying something. Definitely read the reviews for hotels you're going to stay at, because if not, you might end up at a swingers hotel while you're solo traveling in Bali. It wasn't a bad experience. It wasn't like my most favorite experience because it was kind of terrifying, but I saw a pink hotel. I booked it. And if I would have just read those Google reviews, I would have known it's a swingers hotel. And in the back, there's a red room with like sex swings and fuzzy handcuffs. Whatever you put on the internet can and will, in fact, haunt you for the rest of your life. As I have a podcast where I just overshare everything, as I post everything on my story. But that is something I really did learn this year because remember, friends, my internet besties, you'll remember this. Remember when I posted on my Instagram story a photo of me kissing a man and then shortly deleted it maybe an hour later? Not thinking through that, not thinking anyone would notice that. I still to this day get questions about that one instance. So be wary. Just know whatever you post on your Instagram, someone out there is definitely screenshotting it. Next up, just avoid the city of Albuquerque in general. Just avoid Albuquerque. And if you do happen to go to Albuquerque, do not talk badly about it, because you will have people coming out of the woodworks in your DMs saying insane things. Look, not hating on the state of New Mexico. I think it is beautiful. There are great areas. But as I was road tripping earlier this year, I stopped in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I just made a comment on my Instagram. I don't remember what I said, but I was in a crazy small town. And I think I said it was scary and terrifying. And like, I said it was not a cute town. You would think I ran over a puppy and put it on my Instagram. The amount of people who messaged me just being like, how dare you insult Albuquerque? It is so beautiful. I don't know. Maybe it's beautiful, but the areas I saw were not that beautiful. In fact, I was supposed to go on a hot air balloon ride while in Albuquerque, and it got canceled. And thank the Lord it did, because later that day I got a message from my friend on Instagram, and she said, thank God you didn't go on that hot air balloon, because I went on one and the balloon after me and the same exact company crashed into the mountains and all the people died. I was like, maybe they didn't die. I might be exaggerating that, but it did crash. So I don't know. Maybe just avoid Albuquerque. And last but not least, what I learned Unhinged edition in 2023. Do not, and I repeat, do not get a Brazilian wax while on your period. Sorry if that's a little graphic, but I had to learn the hard way because I forgot I was on my period and I forgot I had a tampon in. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for how graphic this is going. And I didn't realize any of that until I heard this woman who's down there doing her job, doing the Lord's work. And she goes, uh-oh. And that is not what you want to hear when someone has their hands down there. I go, what? She was like, the wax got stuck in your why am I saying this? She said the wax got stuck in your tampon string. And I go, okay, so like, what does that mean? She was like, I'm going to try and get it out. So for then 5 minutes, I had this woman just digging a string out of some wax, and I had to sit there. I felt like I was at the gynecologist, but instead I was just paying $45 for a really cheap Brazilian wax. So I learned my lesson. If you're going to get a Brazilian wax, just wait until you're off your period. I promise you can wait a week. But I would like to report back that the string was removed and she was able to just tuck it back in and finish the wax. So love that for me. I tipped her really well because I was like, I am so sorry that you just had to violate me and that you had to put your hands all up in that. And anyways, I was just mortified. So yeah, there we go, guys. There's some unhinged fun facts from 2023. Moving on, let's talk about, I want to reveal on this podcast because y'all, I feel like I've been hyping this up so much. I want to reveal my word of the year. If you're listening to this the morning of the 1st, you're probably one of the first people to know. I'm sure I'll post later in the day on Instagram what it is. But this has not haunted me, but this has kept me up, honestly, more than a few nights, because a word of the year for me just means so much. I don't know why I put so much weight into this, but I have made lists. I've crossed words off the list. I've re-added them. I've reevaluated. I really do whatever word I pick. For some odd reason, is like the theme of my year, and it's so important to me, and I don't understand why I get like this, but I do recommend choosing word of the year because it is really helpful to always reflect back on. So drum roll, please. My word of the year for 2024 is journey. It's plain and simple. I feel like a lot of people maybe wouldn't have expected that. I tossed around the idea of believe and fearless and free and growth, but I kept going back to the word journey, and I cannot really explain why, but I just know because my brain kept going back there that it is the word for me this year. And I think it's because I'm turning 30 this year, which I'm very, very excited about. In May, I have my 30th birthday. I want to plan a fun, epic trip in Tulum, but I'm kind of freaking out about this new milestone. So this whole entire year, I just want to go on a journey. I want to journey into my 30s. I want to go on a journey to find love. I think that's something that sounds, what is this, The Bachelor? That sounds so corny, but it is something I want. I really do. I feel like, and that doesn't have to be romantic. It can be more self-love. It can be love that I find within new friendships. I really would love for it to be romantic love because I just feel like I've been single for so long. It's now coming on 3 years. So I'm hoping in this new journey, I can journey and always remember, the path that I'm on. I want to go on a journey to grow, and I want to not accept being stagnant. I feel like that if I made a list as I was choosing my word of the year of everything I was scared of going into 2024. So if you're trying to choose your word, I really recommend doing that because you'll find it once you list out everything that you're terrified of. And something I was scared of this year, it's just being stagnant. I'm so terrified of just staying in the same place. I'm comfortable right now. I have a good podcast. I like living in Nashville. I like my job. I made plenty of income this year, but I'm utterly terrifying of staying in that same exact place. So I really kept going back to this word journey of I'm just on a journey to grow. I'm on my own journey, and guess what? I don't have to focus on the destination. I simply need to enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey that I'm on right now. Because for me, y'all know, your girl loves a crystal ball. I am so one to look at the end of the year, to look at the end result. Like I want an answer now. And as I enter my 30s, I just want to enjoy. I want to enjoy the ride, and I want to trust and know that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And beyond that, like what I hope and wish for this year on this journey that I'm going on as I enter my 30s, I want to see new places. I want to experience new things. I really want to see my business grow. I want to, meet new people. I really would freaking love to get some ads on this podcast if we're talking about, career goals, which I do think that will happen. But there's just so much that I'm hopeful for this year. And I'm freaking excited that I have this podcast that I can document this because it's going to be really cool. And December 2024 to look back and see, starting at January when I'm recording this podcast, this awesome, hopefully epic journey that I'm going on. So that is my year. Those are my hopes. I am on a journey. It is always evolving. The possibilities are absolutely limitless. And I'm going to be embracing this journey for the good, for the bad, for everything in between. I'm ready for everything that life throws at me. And I simply just want to enjoy the moment. I don't want to worry about the ending. I want to live for the plot. I don't want to live for the end of the story. That was a good one. Should probably put that on a t-shirt or a hat or a journal or something. I'm assuming I will. But guys, 2024, I'm so excited. I'm going to do some shameless self-promotion because this podcast drops as my new app is launching. And you know what I said? I want to grow. I don't want to be stagnant. I want my business to flourish. And you know what I really want? I want you to download that Move Like Morgan app. Because you can also listen to this podcast on that app. And I want you to sign up for my New Year Strong You Fitness Challenge because in that challenge, I do daily prompts so you can also reflect on your year. And I encourage you to choose your own word of the year. So, man, I can't freaking believe it. 2024. And with that being said, let's do a little transition and let's talk about what everyone wants to know about, Britney freaking Spears. All right, besties, we're going to transition a little bit in this lovely podcast, the first podcast of 2024, and I figured we should just talk about some conspiracy theories. If you've been following what I've been saying on Instagram, I am hooked on Britney Spears' new book. I am also wildly invested in these Britney Spears conspiracy theories, and I've been talking with my girlfriend Jamie about it nonstop. So I said, Jamie, you got to come on the podcast. So joining me today is my girlfriend from Nashville, Jamie Spinner. Jamie, hi.
Hi, how are y'all?
I'm so excited for this.
I'm so excited too.
I did not know about these conspiracy theories until you were actually the one who told me, because I had posted in my story and I was like, oh my God, her book was so sad and it really is heartbreaking. Yeah. And then you sent me down this TikTok rabbit hole.
I know. I can't help it. It's crazy. It literally is. Like, I didn't even mean to go down the rabbit hole, but I am the type where, like, once I start, like, getting into something, I have to Google and I have to research and, like, figure it all out. And I was like, what is this?
Well, I literally can't stop talking about it. So we're going to get into that on the podcast. But first, let's quickly talk about her book. Yeah. So if you are listening and you have not read her book, we'll fill you in. If you haven't read it, spoiler alert, even though I feel like there's every spoiler's already been alerted if you're not living under a rock. But what did you think about the book?
Man, I mean, it's just crazy because, okay, first of all, it's a little chaotic, definitely, like when you're reading it. Yeah. I listened to it, just I think like you did too. And so it was easier to listen to in the car and like kind of like go backwards and replay and like actually pay attention to. But it's just crazy. Like you don't realize truly like the trouble and like trauma she had her entire life. Her entire life.
I think the most shocking for me was, I mean, obviously it was shocking being a teen star and the Vegas residency and the conservatorship, but her childhood.
Yeah.
Like if you looked at like, I guess she's posted home videos or you've seen like Britney Spears growing up, you would think it was so happy.
Yeah.
No, traumatic.
Yeah.
So it does make sense. Like it is heartbreaking, but beyond like her parents yelling and divorcing, like I thought it was crazy what her dad went through.
Yeah.
Like not justifying this man in the slightest, but her dad, Britney Spears' dad's dad, her grandpa.
Yes.
What was his name? Freaking June or something?
Something
weird.
I had to like go back because that whole story started to confuse me after a while. And I was like, wait, which character, who's who in this whole thing?
I mean, that was just wild that like he was abusive and like all this stuff. And again, no excuses for her piece of shit, sorry for lack of better terms, father. But it seemed like there was not sunshine and rainbows in the Spears' household.
Not at all. And it's like, I think that's the thing that you miss. Like everyone blames, okay, child star, everyone goes through problems or whatever, but the trauma from day one in her family and how it just like generationally like continued and continued. Like that's the part that's so sad. And you can just see that no one ever did anything, or she wasn't never able to get like the help that she probably needed to like prevent some of the future trauma.
Right. It's almost like in order for her to be a normal person, she would have had to start therapy before she ever got into the stardom. And it seems like her parents were just so focused on making her a star that they're like, well, let's like brush everything under the rug about what we went through. And dude, I thought it was crazy. Like her brother almost died.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Didn't know that detail. I guess he got in like a crazy ATV accident and that started like a bunch of trauma in her family, but it was like that detail. And then, I mean, it was just like the whole like Mickey Mouse Club and being so young. It's like a 6-year-old.
I know.
Like, it's wild to me.
I thought it was crazy that, so I actually watched some of those Mickey Mouse Club episodes, I think like way later on. I loved them. They were so good. But I didn't know that like she lied at first about her age because she like really wanted to like be a part of it, and that she didn't get it at first. Like she didn't get the audition. Right. And then she had to like work hard again, and just like being that young and like having to take on that responsibility and like that adultness is just.
Cannot fathom.
Yeah.
Wait, I've never watched the Mickey Mouse Club.
You have to.
Wait. What is it? Like, should I know what I've heard of it, and I just know it's like Justin Timberlake and Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and Ryan Gosling. Yeah,
it's so good. I think they like replayed it on Disney at one point, and like I think I was in like a Disney phase watching it. I don't even remember. It was like so many years ago, but it's really good. It's like a lot of like. There's just, I mean, they're acting and they're singing, and it's kind of like a compilation of things. I honestly
but it's
don't
not
even know how to
scripted.
No, it's scripted. It's for sure. They're like acting through the whole thing. Like there's different scenarios and different scenes and things that are going on. And then all of a sudden they're like in like acting out something, and then they break into song. I don't even know how to explain it. But
I mean, it probably is a bop because like look at the people who's in it. But can you imagine if that was the thing today?
Yeah. Rehearsals, like all of the stuff that they were doing is crazy.
It's like now we have TikTok.
Yeah.
Now we have 7-year-olds on TikTok. We don't need a Mickey Mouse Club. It's truly wild. On a random tangent, this has nothing to do with the book. Did you hear that her dad got his leg amputated?
No. Okay. I did not. What is the story?
Okay. So plot twist, if you have not listened or read this book, her dad in the conservatorship was awful. Like, honest to God, I really do feel like this man should be in jail.
Abusive, like full on abuse of power.
Full on abuse. She had no control. Like he was like locking her in rehab. He was pumping her with drugs. Like it is just honestly heartbreaking.
Okay, what about the fact that she couldn't take energy supplements? And they were like saying that she was taking drugs. That whole part was weird for me.
Strange. So in the book, it wasn't even like, you know, like hydroxycut and like that's actually like really bad for you. It seems like it was just like a vitamin, like probably B12.
Yeah.
Like a literal vitamin.
Like a pre-workout.
Like something supplement, which like I'm a normal human not performing on stages and like I need a pre-workout to function. I'm assuming Britney Spears also needs some kind of caffeine.
For real.
But I guess her dad caught her taking it and like she wasn't allowed to put anything in her body that was not approved by them. And anytime they would catch it, they would just literally send her straight to rehab.
Yeah.
Like lock her away.
Like then I started going down the rabbit hole in my mind of like, what part of this is true and what part of this book isn't? Because like, is she downplaying some of the things that she's talking about? Because the energy supplement thing just seems so wild to me that they wouldn't be like, okay, you know, it's energy. Like we'll find you the healthy one, whatever it is. Like, was it really an energy supplement?
So I have so many theories on that. Let me explain why he has no leg anymore.
Oh yeah, wait, go back to that.
Wait, he lost his leg. Apparently, and I do think this is kind of karma, except if karma really played its part, I think he should have lost both of his legs. But like he only lost one. I guess he had knee surgery and it got like super infected.
Oh.
And yeah, they literally cut his leg off.
I literally didn't know that.
That is the thing. And everyone's like, this is what he gets. Like you mess with Britney, you lose your leg. I'm like, oh, that's actually morbid, but like kind of true.
But like, sorry.
Like, don't
Maybe
be a bad person.
Maybe the doctor did it on purpose and he was a Britney fan.
You honestly never know.
More conspiracy theories.
Free Britney. Free Britney. Free Brit. But speaking on her book, as I was telling you before we started this, did you know she only wrote, technically, according to the internet, 15% of it?
No, I didn't.
So that I had figured that she had a ghostwriter. There's no way, we all know Britney's state of mind is not there. I was like, there's no way she wrote this.
Yeah.
But I was like, assuming she had a collaborator or a ghostwriter. No, it came out like she really only had a say in like 15% of it.
What? Okay, so I didn't know that, and I had this whole theory in my mind that like she had started all these journals and was just like writing things down, and then like someone like took them and just like put them into a story because of the way that it's written and because it's like kind of hectic and like,
well, it's like it's written at like third grade reading level.
It's
like
weird.
It is, and that was people's biggest critique of the book. They're like, I feel like I'm losing brain cells reading this.
Yeah.
I'm like, low key kind of agree. Even listening to it, it was very simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
But so then I went down this rabbit hole conspiracy theory. I was like, okay, she only wrote like 15% of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like she had journals. Like she went through interviews.
Okay.
But only 15% of those interviews, I guess, made it into the book. But then I was like, okay, well then who's writing the rest of it? So it was a guy. I don't know why.
What?
I mean, cool. I'm like all for pro male, pro female, whatever. But I just find it weird that a man wrote it for whatever odd reason.
Hold up.
Yeah.
I'm mind blown by this.
A man wrote it. And then this is also wild.
Oh, no.
I just feel like whoever was writing this, I don't know. Something is fishy. I think that they let her give just enough information and then I think they filled in the holes. So in her book, it's normal for most celebrities to like thank the ghostwriters. They write the acknowledgement in the beginning of the book, like they name them.
Yeah.
In the beginning of her book, it says like, thank you to my collaborators. And all it says is, you know who you are.
What?
Isn't that
That's weird.
wild? And some people are saying like, well, she doesn't want to give names because then she doesn't want people to go abuse that person.
Yeah. Protection
of them, their identity. to me, that's almost like dismissive. Like, I don't like how this happened. I don't agree with it.
I almost feel like then, like, when did she start? I can't remember when she said she started writing this, because it sounds to me like it was still very controlled. And like maybe even on the publishing side that they were like, okay, like this is what we want in it. And like, this is what's going to happen. And because who knows what's happening with Britney, again, down the conspiracy theory hole. But like, maybe it really was like kind of puppeted and like, here's where you go. And then someone else just picked up and like got creative in it.
And I find it so odd. Okay, so this guy wrote it.
Yeah. I'm like blown away that it's a man that wrote
it. Same. When I heard
that,
I
found
was
this
like,
out now.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wild to me. But also, I feel like he wrote it like in her language. Like, does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, he, instead of writing it eloquently and like you're writing a well thought out book, it's almost like they wrote it poorly.
Purposely
to like match her. And I'm like, that's just as odd to me. Why, as an author, because he's getting so much critique, like the writing style is so bad and it's so poor.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? Why do you feel the need to sound just like Britney Spears? I don't know, dude.
Well, if you're a ghostwriter, I guess no one will know that it's you that actually did that.
Right, that is true. Super freaking sus. Weird. I'm trying to think. So that was like the big book, like her not writing it. Then, don't you find it odd? This is like the tip of the iceberg where I started with this like conspiracy theory. She hasn't done any promos for it.
Yes.
Why?
I agree. That's part of like one of the things I was looking at on one of my conspiracy theories in TikTok, like all of this hype and like all of the weird things on Instagram and just like the constant like viewership of her page is the promo. It's leading into what she was doing. There wasn't like, oh, hey, Britney Spears is coming out with a book. It was all the chaos, the weird posts and things that are keeping her relevant that made the book sell the way that it did because people wanted to hear her story.
Right. And so I guess, yes, maybe that's a marketing strategy. But okay, in what world has a celebrity released a book and they haven't gone on a talk show?
100%.
They haven't done a promo. I mean, she's obviously not well enough to do like a book tour. But they like... she could do a Zoom with someone to promote the book. That is weird.
Has not been seen in public.
No.
Since like 2019.
Okay, so we're going to get into that. We're going to, because that is wild. Then, okay, so with the promos, she's not, but she'll do Instagram stories about the book.
That's what doesn't make sense.
And they're only in her home.
Yep.
They're not outdoor, whatever this home is. I think she's in a dungeon personally. Yeah. And if you go and like look at all of them, there's like a compilation on TikTok. She repeats the same thing in every single promo. And it's not just like something generic, like, hey guys, listen to my book. It's something weird. Like she's singing the Beach Boys. Like,
oh, I don't even think I noticed that.
Dude, I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah.
It's like a very distinct, like something you would notice. Like she's like singing like Kokomo and like Beach Boys.
Wait, I did not notice that.
And it's like 3 times the same exact thing. So bizarre.
Weird. Well, there's like this whole thing about how there's all these like Easter egg type things in all of her posts and her stories and like everything that she's doing. Like she's always giving clues supposedly. So I don't know what that means, but.
So I agree with that one. I saw that. There was one, and this is why I think the book honestly is bullshit. I just like. I think some of it to make
money for them. I think
it's a way for them to make a ton of money. I think it's a way to include again 15% of what maybe happened to her, and then fill in the holes with a bunch of fluff. But one of her posts, I don't know when this was, but she wrote like a novel, and she said something like, whatever happened in 2007, which is like her mental breakdown year. She was like, what really happened, no one knows about.
I saw that.
But you just wrote a book about it. So what are you talking about? Like, and she said whatever no one knows about went on for 3 years. But you just have this, I don't know. I'm just like, where's the discount? What are you not saying in the book? What really happened for 3 years?
Exactly. Well, it's like then what got cut out of the book that she probably wrote. So now she's taking to her Instagram to fill in pieces of the book that probably didn't make it into the book.
Dude.
Like, what?
It's wild. No, it literally keeps me up at night. Like, I cannot stop thinking about it.
I thought the same thing. I felt like it was just a good time for them to release this book. She's out of the conservatorship. Like, everyone wants to hear what she has to say. People don't always understand and believe about the ghostwriters, or that she didn't write the full thing. And so I feel like they just capitalized perfectly, and it's kind of where it's at.
Okay, so my question then is, and this is what I was thinking about. Okay, so her dad's not in the picture. She's not in the conservatorship. She technically is free, but like someone is in charge of her. So I'm like, who's in charge of her and who's making the money off of her? Because Britney Spears is not in obviously the right state of mind to figure out how you're going to sell a book, figure out how you're going to get that written. I want to know who's calling the shots. I need to know.
I know. It's like there has to be a whole team. I mean, because this is always my question when she posts these weird things, or she posts her naked photos. I'm like, why hasn't her publicist stopped it? And then I started thinking, maybe her publicist helped post it. Like maybe they're curating all of this crazy content, because it doesn't make sense to me that someone would not be filtered in some sort of way, or that like if she has a team that they're just sitting there and letting her do all of this stuff without like any control over it. So obviously there has to be, because of the book. Right. So I don't know. I'm like, how, like she's not just sitting there doing this herself. Like there has to be people with her.
Right. I need answers. I need to know. Like,
I need to know.
Because if her dad's not calling the shots anymore, I guarantee you it's someone who was still a part of her team during the conservatorship, who's probably not on her side.
Yep.
Wow. I want to know, what is your, because dude, there's 18 million conspiracy theories. Some people think she's dead.
Yeah.
Some people think she's locked in a basement. Some people think like, oh, we got to talk about the wedding too.
Oh my God. The wedding is like the biggest one.
It's wild.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is she alive or is she dead?
Okay. So I don't know. I go back and forth, because this conspiracy that I read, like heard it last night, that I like actually stumbled upon, is kind of wild and like makes a lot of sense. So basically the new one that I heard was that she actually has employed and hired a body double, which is the teeth person, like whatever. So this person isn't her, but she's actually like working with them to create like a decoy and to create like a whole different distraction, so that like she can be protected and she can go do things while everyone's focusing on the decoy. She's off doing whatever she needs to be doing. And there is this, I'll find it. I took a screenshot, but like this guy on TikTok like puts together a compilation of like, he slows down a video and you can see like the difference, like she changes. Like it's almost like the double Britney and then the real Britney like pops into a couple frames. It's crazy. I don't know. I haven't gone deep enough down that hole, but like I kept being like, oh, she's dead. Like she's cloned. Like there's no way that Britney is not the same Britney.
No. Because Britney Spears, the original one, can dance.
Yes. That's exactly it.
That is it. Look at the videos of her at the VMAs, whatever. The girl can dance. Like, let's give her that.
She didn't lose that. Like, there's no way.
No, I mean, yes. Okay. The whole lithium thing and the drugs, like I'm sure that has an effect, but still.
Yeah.
Not the same person.
Yeah, no.
Well, that I actually like. That's like a kind of a positive conspiracy theory that I actually like and support and would hope.
Yeah. Because I heard, I mean, she's used body doubles before for photos and things in the past. So like, why not just like build this whole thing around having someone that is, you know, I don't know, creating this situation for you, and you can go off and you can do what you need to do. Maybe get healthy. Maybe she's just taking the time, and then someone else is creating this whole
and that
image
would
of
make
Britney.
sense as to why all the content we're seeing is only from her home. It's all from the same exact place. It's all honestly the exact same content.
Yeah. It's the same as when she was in the conservatorship too, which is so weird, because I'm like, you never leave your house. Like you're in this same place over and over.
Or so I went down her Instagram last night, kind of looking at everything. It's either in her home or randomly in Cabo.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if like there's some kind of like safe zone where it's just like that's all she's allowed. Like she can pretend to be free, and it's in like this one little enclosed area. Yeah. Because it all looks the same. It's like one area of Cabo. No
Maybe
restaurants.
She's in Cabo when the double's at home and they're just filming content.
Ooh. That could be it.
Maybe she's just like relaxing and getting, you know, what she needs in Cabo, and pops in and it makes it look like she's somewhere else, but really like.
I actually low-key think that's very correct.
Could be a new one.
I support that. I think that's my new conspiracy theory.
I don't want to believe she's dead, but like it's just, that was where I was going with it too, because I'm like, this Britney is not the same Britney. Her like, okay, so this was my other thing with the whole teeth. and this is probably a question for like a dentist out there, but she's had veneers for like since she was like young, right? Like full teeth veneers. When you get veneers, classic veneers, which you probably got like 20 years ago, I mean, they take your teeth to nubs.
Right.
So how, even I understand like the lithium and like how that can like deteriorate your teeth. If she had veneers, wouldn't it be deteriorating them to the point where they're back to the nubs? Like they're not this like weird chiclet situation.
So the teeth is like my number one thing that I'm like, that is the clue that this is not the same person. So it's one, yes, veneers. If you did take them out, she would have nubs.
Yeah.
Like her teeth would not have a gap in them.
Exactly.
They would not be crooked. And then have you seen, look up her bottom teeth.
Oh,
the bottom teeth.
They're like weird because they used
There's
to be like
none
normal.
left.
Yeah.
There's
that's so
literally
weird.
None left. So everyone is saying like this has to be a different human because
they wouldn't just completely go away. Like you wouldn't lose all your teeth like that.
No, not at all. That one, no, the teeth one is actually what shakes me the most because like she never had that gap in her teeth.
And here's my thing. If even during her conservatorship, they're so careful about her health, all this stuff. I mean, I can't really remember when the teeth started to look different, but like you can't tell me that like she can go tour and do all this stuff, but she's not going to a dentist.
Right.
Like if she's on lithium for this long, like she's sure as hell's getting her teeth looked at. Like they're doing normal like
and
checkups.
Also if her team was so controlling, which it sounds like they are, why are they letting her look like this? Why are they not fixing her teeth? What's up with the tape and hair extensions?
Brush her hair, God, for God's sake, someone
also,
take a brush.
It's not 2006. We can upgrade from the tape-ins. Get her a weft.
Like,
Get her a
I don't
weft.
understand. I would like be having someone. I mean, I think that goes back to the fact though that like supposedly no one has seen her. So like even there was a whole thing about how like fans had called the cops to her house at one point, like in this weird in between stage because they thought that like something was seriously wrong with Britney. And the cops got there and like they didn't even see Britney. People on her team were like, oh no, we're fine. We're with her. So like that goes like, otherwise you would think she would be getting her hair done and all this stuff. So it's like they're keeping people away from this Britney because it's not Britney.
Yeah, it's not. No. It definitely is not. Now, I don't think she's dead because I went down that theory. Although if you look up and it is in public records, this is very strange.
Yeah.
It does say that she is marked as deceased.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So if you go in public records, this is wild.
Oh my God, I got chills. That's so wild.
It says Britney Jean Spears and it's like status of what, I'm probably butchering how you say this, but it says deceased. So then I looked it up because I'm like, what the hell? Like that obviously is public record. Like that's real. Now it is something like you can technically be like civilly deceased, like civil death. That's what it's called, civil death. So she's not physically dead, but they marked her in records as a civil death, which means if you look it up on Google, that is someone who has been like banished, someone who has done something so shameful that like they're civilly dead. Or it can sometimes refer to a conservatorship where you no longer have civil rights.
Got it.
So like you're, but why
That's
file
weird.
that? Like why? Who
went through the time to do that?
Who decided to be like, well, she needs a civil death certificate?
Yeah.
In public, like that is what's strange to me. So no, I don't think she's dead. But before you said your first theory, my theory is I think she is locked somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I really do think she is locked in her home, in a basement, in a closet, somewhere where she's not allowed to leave.
Yep.
And I think she is let out when she needs to film like these random like, hey guys, I'm okay.
Yep.
Which by the way, in those videos, if you look at her eyes, like they're so weird. She's in front of like a green screen, like a white wall. You can see her reading a teleprompter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like her eyes go back and forth. She's being fed lines to read.
It's so crazy.
It's wild. So I think she's being held captive somehow. I think people are still in charge of her money.
For sure.
And I think my theory was I think it's like AI generated. Like some kind of AI, or maybe it's a person and there's like an AI filter that's shifting.
Well, there is like, you can see a filter on a couple of videos that like has like a weird delay or shifts. So I definitely believe the filter thing. And like even, so I was listening to one thing, they're talking about just like how easy it is to like CGI over all that. So like, I mean, they do that in movies all the time. So why would Britney's team not just CGI a face on top of whoever this is, or at least enough of a filter to like make it look like it's her?
But it's It's okay. So if you're going to go through to the extent,
lengths,
the length of all that, why is we not having fake Britney in like Paris or like cool places? Like, why is she just in her weird home?
Yeah. And okay, you think about it, like celebrities all the time have had like doppelgangers or people that they've like used as decoys, like going from one place to another. So the paparazzi follows them and not them. Like that could still be a thing. Like if she needs to go do something or whatever, like put her in Paris, like you said, take photos. People can see Britney in public for like the image, and then throw her back in a car and put the double out there. But like no one has seen her. No, which is the weirdest part.
And let's talk about the wedding.
Oh my God.
The wedding, dude.
That I can't, like, that rabbit hole is the whole thing.
The whole thing was fake. Yeah. In my opinion.
The fact that she was like, oh my God, so and so came and they were so sweet in person, and you're like, they're at your wedding. What do you mean?
Well, what was crazy is, okay, so at Britney Spears' wedding, she married Sam. I don't even know his last name, but they're divorced now. Yeah. Plot twist. They are divorced. It lasted,
didn't know, now you know.
It lasted 14 months. Not RIP to him, because I think he is in
I think he's in
cahoots with everything.
For sure.
But they got married, and Selena Gomez was there, Drew Barrymore, Paris Hilton, Madonna, Versace chick, Donatella. But Britney Spears made a post, and she literally said something like, oh my gosh, what a star-studded something. I had basically
surprised.
I did not know that they were coming.
No.
What do you mean? For your own wedding, you don't know that these people are showing up?
Yeah, because I heard that it was like all staged in a room, like one little like room or like a studio type of a thing. And someone was like I think it was like an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband, or whatever.
Tried to crash the wedding.
Exactly, because he didn't believe it. He was like, Britney, this is not Britney. Like something's wrong. Like I got to figure this out. And he like has on video like walking around being like, where's Britney? And he shows the like room of the wedding.
Yes. So it was her first, the guy she married in Vegas, very first. It was like her.
Track of anyone's names.
I know. It was like her ex, like he's like kind of country, back roads, whatever. He's in her house, like he's yelling. He's like, "Where's Britney? Where's Britney?" And they're like, "You need to get out." And he's like, "This wedding's fake, whatever." And there's a room with like the flowers set up.
Yep.
And I think it's so bizarre. Okay. Her wedding photos are in that one spot where she films her weird videos.
Yeah.
On like an iPhone 14.
Yeah, it's weird. Nothing's like professional. Like every part about it is just so staged, and like here, move over to this background and take this photo here and move over here, and like I don't know.
It's like, so why are we getting an iPhone photo inside? And then every photo they took of her ceremony is far away.
Yeah.
It's blurry. You're telling me the biggest pop star of mankind is getting married, and we don't have high quality photos?
There's no way.
No freaking way. And then she wasn't wearing pants at her reception. It's her dancing with no pants on for me.
It is. And that's the thing to me. I'm like, we're going through all these lengths again to like make it seem like Britney is okay, but like, why are we skipping steps? Like, why wouldn't you be doing these? I mean, they edit high quality photos all the time. Just edit it. Like everything is making the conspiracies so much more valid, because you're like, this is just strange.
No, it makes no sense. And then did you see there's a photo, I think, or maybe a video of her and Sam walking, and her hand blends into his hand.
Yes. And there's another one where they're all dancing or like singing something. It was like Madonna and Selena and a couple of them. They're doing something. And it's one of those weird like hand matrixy things that happens. And they're like, are they photoshopped in?
It's
like this
strange.
Can't be real.
And in the same photo where like it's her hand basically is meshing in his. So you can tell they're either in front of a green screen or it's not really her. Then if you look in the background, Kathy Hilton is there, which like everyone was like, why is she even here?
Yeah.
She's missing a leg in the photo.
Wait, I've never seen
Literally. In the photo, she is legless.
How are we not like...
How do people believe that this situation is not incredibly messed up?
I don't know. The wedding, like always, is just so sketchy to me. Like there's just so much more that like I really need to know about because it just is so weird. Every piece of that wedding just does not make sense.
Bizarre. And then whoever is running the shots on Britney's team just obviously invited all these random celebrities. Yeah. But like Britney made a post, and I guess Ansel Elgort was there.
Yeah.
And she made a post, and she didn't even know who he was. She was like, "Oh, this guy's baby driver was at my wedding," and she doesn't even know his name. And it's like, this is your intimate wedding?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, and then what about the people that were close to her? Like, I never saw any photos of anyone like that. It was all like celebrities to show that Britney got married, but like no one from her family, no one that like she's known forever, that she's ever talked about before.
Right. Like childhood friends, anything like that. It was, and then like her nail color changed from the photo of her walking down the aisle. She had white nails. And then her in the reception, I mean, I guess you can like put on fake nails, but like visibly different.
No, they're like piecing this whole thing together and they're not doing a good job.
And then
you need to hire new people.
I'm like, we're on to you. Yeah. I'm literally like, I am not a detective and I am piecing together that like
the sleuths have figured it out. I mean,
something is, TikTok is on it, but the people that figured out Britney is not well.
Yeah.
But then she posted something. Did you see this? So after the wedding, she posted like a caption on Instagram, like her chaotic language. And she was like, I'm at a restaurant and 2 girls sat down next to me and they were wasted and smelled just like alcohol.
Yes.
And were acting a fool. Reminds me of my wedding. And then there's a photo of her, Selena Gomez, like dancing in her face. The day after her wedding, Britney Spears unfollowed Selena Gomez on social media. Make it make sense.
Why? That's a whole other thing.
Why? You're besties with her.
I don't know. But are they? Or was that all a PR stunt?
I think it's all, I mean, it has to be a PR stunt.
Yeah. Because it just doesn't make sense. Like it's like if Britney is actually in control of her socials or she's commenting and she's saying all this stuff, the other pieces don't make sense with it.
No, at all.
And like from what I've been like gathering, like people are finding all these clues and these Easter eggs and these things within her post. So it's like they know that she's like there, but like it's not matching the scenarios and the things that are going on. It's almost like she's purposely being like, hey, like, you know, here's
like,
all this.
Help me.
Yeah, like something like that.
I'm locked in a basement.
Yeah.
Help me. And this is why I think my basement theory is correct.
Help me.
Literally, she posted a video. She posted some weird shit, but she posted a video of her sitting in the shower. And there is a trickle of water. Like, this woman is a millionaire. She can't afford higher water pressure. She has a little trickle, and it looks like she is in, like, a motel bathroom.
I don't even know.
So it's like someone set up, and they're like, all right, we're going to actually film you.
Yeah. Like,
pretend like you're doing something in your basement bathroom.
Yeah.
And we're going to upload it and pretend like it's your massive mansion.
Yeah. Now I have this image of, like, I think I've just watched a lot of, like, Law and Order and things in my life, but I have this image of, like, Britney, like, chained to, like, a bed in the basement, like
I'm sad.
On drugs. Like, they're basically, like, keeping her, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So then, like, when she has to do things for them, they can get her to do that. And then other than that, she's just locked away.
Yeah. Wild. Well, okay.
I hope that's not the truth.
I really hope that's not the truth. I will say, if we're looking, fine, I'll be rational for 1 second. If we're not being cuckoo crazy conspiracy theorists.
She's chained in the basement.
The lithium thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it does essentially, like, long-term being on lithium, like, will melt your brain.
Yeah.
So, like, the whole teeth thing, like, there's a bunch of sus things, but if we're being, a lot of people are like, dude, she literally is just mentally not there from the lithium.
Yeah. Which is,
I mean, just freaking
wild
to think of.
It's crazy because I think back and when I was listening to the book on tape, oh my God, that just made me sound old, on audio, not on tape.
On tape.
Book on tape. When I was listening to it, I was talking about her tour and I saw her tour like 5 times. Like I saw
her in Vegas.
Yeah, I saw her in Vegas like so many times. And I remember as it got towards the end, like you kind of were like, oh, like it's not the same, or like you could tell she's just a little off, or like there was just things that like we didn't know then. And I feel like that's when, like, I mean, if you're on lithium and you're trying to learn choreography, like there's no way.
But it now makes sense too. So I did see her in Vegas towards the end of her residency, and like we were just excited that it was her in person. She was not good.
No.
Like it honestly was bad.
Tragic.
Like really sad. But then listening to her book, it kind of made sense where I think the saddest part was she was like, I would not move my hair.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that is such a very specific thing to not do, to like, I don't know, stick it to the man. But wouldn't flip her hair, like wouldn't dance. I was like, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's her only control that she had. Like when they said, be here, perform this, and she would just walk off stage, pretending like she had no idea she was supposed to perform. Like she knew it was her control. Like that was the only time she could control something without anyone telling her what to do because they weren't physically holding her.
Oh my God. Literally tragic.
Yeah.
Out of the whole Britney Spears story, I'm so curious. She had a lot of shitty people in her life.
Yeah.
Who did you think was, I mean, her dad aside, I think he obviously is the worst, whatever. He's legless now. Gotta keep bringing that one up. Gotta bring that one up.
Come on.
Who was the worst? Like, Justin Timberlake?
Ooh.
Like, that was honestly, I mean, he was, look, he was young. I think fame affects everyone.
For sure.
At a young age. But, like, my jaw dropped hearing. Especially, I didn't know that she got an abortion.
I know. I mean, I don't think, like, really anyone knew.
So sad.
Like, that's just, I mean, I just like think back to that time when they were like the hot couple and whatever and like everything they had to live up to. And I mean, she even says, she was like, I was so infatuated. I was in love with him. I would have done anything for him. And I think that like we've seen that stand true over the years. Like everyone's always been like, oh, Britney just like never was the same after Justin. And I think that like that probably started like a mental toll on her with that whole situation on top of being like 16 and in this whole entire industry. And then like not being able to control that.
Yeah.
And that was like her first loss of like full control, I think.
And it was just heartbreaking too how he did it. Like I think about being young and like my dumb heartaches. And I was dealing with this as someone who knew like it was not famous and no one knew my name.
Yeah.
I can't fathom being in love with someone and then him writing her a letter.
Yeah.
Basically like she didn't hear anything. She got a letter from Justin and then he just blew up in fame.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
so sad.
I have to look at my ex's face on a corny MTV show and I'm like,
oh yeah. And they're
awful.
always together. Like they were always together for like MTV stuff or like, I don't even, what was it? It was a TRL or something, whatever, back in the day, whatever that was. But like they were always like, it was like, you know, Britney and Christina and NSYNC and Backstreet. And like there was a whole like, you know, thing of them always being in the same room. So imagine.
Like, yeah, I can't fathom literally every corner. And this was back when like tabloids and the magazines you would see everywhere. Just having to see Justin Timberlake's face. I cannot fathom that. I will say I think Kevin Federline takes the cake for me though.
Oh, yeah.
Where is K-Fed?
I don't, and like the boys.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I wonder if he still has custody of them.
Yeah, I think he does. I think from what I read, but I mean, I don't know. It's another thing. I'm like, does she
get to see them?
Boys? Like, is there...
Because you would think if she was seeing them, she would be posting photos with them.
Exactly. There's no photos of her with the kids. Like, there's just nothing that makes sense because if she was free out of her conservatorship, why has she not left the house?
Right.
Besides the Cabo or like whatever, there has been like the random beach photos, but like...
And I know a lot of people are going to argue and be like, well, her mental health, like she can't do it. You know, is she suffering? And that you still, in my opinion, would have to leave the house with her doctor appointments.
Something.
Like, who's bringing her groceries?
Yeah. And like you've been stuck under this like rule for so long. You would think that, I know she talks about how she like finally got to go on vacation and all this stuff, but like you'd think she would go on a talk show or do something to be like, thank you to everyone that like loved and support me. Like you helped get me here. Like there would be something public.
Something. Have you seen that? Have you seen the comparisons of her voice change?
Oh yeah.
That one freaks me out.
So weird.
That one, for those listening, go on TikTok and just type in like Britney Spears voice change.
Yeah.
Different human.
Completely.
Like beyond the teeth. Okay, I guess maybe like you had a teeth disorder. It's like something happened.
Yeah.
But the change in the voice is actually really terrifying.
Yeah. And just like the way she answers questions or the way she talks is like so different than the beginning interviews when she was younger. And in general, like she could speak eloquently enough where like now you're kind of like, what? Like, what's happening?
Between
on top of the voice change
and the voice change and the outfits and like it's all.
And why are we bringing the whole low rise, almost seeing your crotch situation every time we see a video? Besides the fact that she posts naked videos and photos all the time.
Well, yeah, now we've gotten to the point where she's just not wearing clothes.
I know.
And I'm like, I mean, look, I will say like for everything she's gone through, I'm like, you look pretty.
She's
good.
free.
You look pretty darn good. But yeah, it's
like the constant like hip movement of like taking down her pants. And I'm like, what is this dance move that you're doing?
The best video on the internet, and now guys have been duetting it, being like, when you wake up with like a one night stand in your bed.
Yeah.
And it's the one of like her face and she's like, good morning.
Oh my God, yeah.
Good morning. It is
the
funny, but also just like so sad and so terrifying.
Yeah, all of it is. So.
Okay, final thoughts on Britney. We're wrapping this up. What in the next year, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I really don't. Like, I wish, like, I want to say that there's going to be some like big revival situation. I've heard that like she's supposed to be coming out with an album in 2024.
No freaking way.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like, I mean, I think if she was recording, like that's a whole other story in itself, because I'm like, again, if she's not mentally stable to communicate and speak normal words, how is she recording? Yeah. So again, there's AI now, like you can literally record a whole album on AI and like use someone's voice. So that would be a whole thing if that comes out, like that I would want to totally dig into, but I don't know. I think that this is just so up in the air. Like someone's going to have to break at some point. Like I'm sure there's lots of people that are paid off right now, but someone's going to have to break.
Do you know what I'm surprised? I'm surprised someone has not broken into her house.
Yeah.
Like a fan or someone concerned. Why? Yeah. I mean, I don't think her house is that secure. She's posted 18 million videos in it. Like we can piece together probably where she lives. People called the cops. Like they know where she lives. I'm like, why is someone not scaling a wall? Yeah. Busting out a window?
Yeah. Well,
TikTok live streaming it and then figuring out where she is.
Well, that's that whole theory on the body double, is that body double is living at the house. So if people like see the blonde hair or see something or like try to like get photos, like she's the one being seen, but that Britney's somewhere else that we don't know, the dungeon, or somewhere else we don't know. Because it would be very easy. Like there's so many people that like are diehard, like want to figure this out, that like genuinely actually care about her and want to know. I mean, even like when her ex broke into her house and for the wedding and couldn't find her, like no one has seen her.
Oh my God, my mind is currently exploding.
I just want someone to come out and be like, yeah, actually I passed by her and
saw her
on the
Kroger
street. Yeah, like
groceries.
Yeah, like I mean, is she just chilling? Like either mentally something's obviously wrong, or maybe she is wearing a wig and walking around LA like nothing happened and no one knows.
God, Britney, if you're listening to the Your Internet Best Friend podcast, which you're not, I love you. We wish you well. I really hope you're not locked in a basement. Yeah. Truly.
Truly. All the love for you, Brit. Yeah.
In the next year,
we're ready for whatever.
I'm about to go down more TikTok rabbit holes. But Jamie, thank you so much for joining. You're gonna have to come. Do you like follow any other conspiracy theories?
I don't know. Sometimes.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to start digging, because now I'm like, I want a conspiracy theory like segment on this podcast. People are like, we don't want that. I'm like, you're gonna get it anyways. Yeah. Jamie, I love you, welcome. You're welcome to come back on the pod anytime.
Thanks, I'd love to.
All right, besties. I'll see everyone next week, and have a great New Year's. Thanks so much for listening to the Your Internet Best Friend podcast. It's been real, it's been fun, and I will see everyone here next week. In the meantime, do all the podcast things, like, subscribe, give me a 5-star review if you please, and catch up with me on social media at Morgan Lee Willette. Bye, besties.